we are starting with general security concept. So, general security concept is, like I mentioned earlier, is it's the fundamentals. We're talking about the security principles. These are the fundamentals, and I will not waste much time on it because there's a lot more theory inside it, which you can easily read up. That is not what we're focusing on in this course. Reading, I'm sure all of us here can take any, can read and understand. So we'll focus on the areas that need help more, the technical areas. Maybe later on, Charles will share with us the aspect of the certified in cybersecurity that was difficult for him, or you didn't do well in the exam, where we can trash out to. So general security concepts. So the objectives of this one is to talk about security control. So there are in under general security, other security principles or security concepts. So we have this objective that for us today. We have the security controls. We have what we call the CIA, AAA, zero trust. We have change management, and then we have cryptographic solutions. These four objectives is taken from the Computer Security Plus curriculum objectives. So that is what we're looking. But it aligns, like I said, also it aligns with ISC2 certified in cybersecurity. So when we talk about security controls, we have different categories and different types. So the categories are technical, we have managerial controls, we have operational controls, we have physical controls. And basically, when we're talking about security controls, we are talking about things that ensure that security is maintained. These are things that ensure that an organization abide by security principles, or that organizations stick with security concepts. Do you understand? That is what security controls. So, and in security control, like I said, we have the technical, managerial, operational, physical. In the technical, we are talking about things that has to do with the computer or the system. There are things that has to do with maybe having technical knowledge, things that has to do with configurations. So when you're talking about technical controls, so these controls include things like firewalls, encryption. Remember, when we talk about control, basically the word control, like we have generally, means ensuring certain things are done in a particular way, or ensuring that certain rules or certain conditions are abided with, or certain conditions are observed. So in technical controls, under the technical category, we have firewalls, we have encryption. So firewalls basically are set configurations that you set in your system that allows or disallows a particular kind of traffic inflow and outflow into your system. So what are we saying? An example of a firewall in the layman terms, in the ordinary world, is like you have a gate man, or you set a gate man, you set something, you have a gate, and you have a gate man at the gate. So both the gate and the gate man forms the firewall, because the gate man opens the gate for people that are allowed to come in, and close the gate to people who are not allowed to come in. So basically, that's what firewalls is doing. So when you have firewall in your network, you are saying this firewall is allowing some traffic to come in and stopping some traffic from coming in. And firewalls have rules. So they will set a rule, just like you give your gateman instruction that anybody that is wearing a particular kind of uniform should not come into the organization. Anybody that is not old, or that is not certain number of years old, cannot be allowed to come in. Anybody that is too, looking a particular way should not come in. And then maybe you can instruct the gateman to that none of your staffs are allowed to go out except during so time. That's the same way firewalls work. So you set configuration in your system so that certain things are allowed to happen and certain things are not allowed to happen. So that's a kind of control that we call technical. Another type of control is encryption. So encryption is basically like encoding a plain text words. It's usually used for texts. So when you encrypt something, it means that you change the format. People cannot, it's no longer in a plain format. Like if you say, if I am talking to you, I'm speaking to you in English, for instance now, and I'm calling a apple is like they say, A is for apple, B for ball, C is for cattle. So instead of saying, um, if I want to call a cat now, we know C is for cow, A is for apple, maybe T is for what is T for? T is for tangerine. So if I want to encrypt, a simple form of encryption will be, I can say, um, cow, apple, tangerine. For those of us that work with security organizations, you will be hearing that a lot. So if I start to say cow, apple, tangerine, I've encrypted it in a form, although the encryption is weak, because any normal person can easily understand what you are saying, cow, apple, tangerine, and I know you are giving out a code. I can easily put it together, cow, C for cow, A for apple, T for tangerine. The person is talking about cat. So that means cat. So encryption is basically making a plain text, something that is plain, making it no longer plain. And it will now require some form of uh, key, some key to decrypt it, to unlock that thing that has been encrypted. That's the technical, because the way I'm sounding is sounding technical. That's the technical control. Then we have managerial controls. These are things like policies in an organization. When you serve a policy, that our policy state that nobody takes the computers or office computer or office laptop, nobody takes it home. Our office policy says that nobody browses Facebook during work hours. Those are policies. They are a form of control. Audits is another form of control. You know what audits? If you are working in an organization and they said the organization is being audited, that means they are coming to check your books, coming to check what you are doing, to see that if you say you bought your TV for 5,000 naira, they will check where's the receipts, where did you buy it, what date did you buy, what did you transfer to. They are auditing. It's a form of control to ensure that things are done properly. That's managerial. Then we have operational controls. Operational controls are things that has to do with the way a business runs, with the way activities are going on within the organization. So if you are implementing a security control that is operational, you're going to be talking about things like backups. So I'm sure both of us are familiar with backup. If you use a phone, you understand what backup means. If you have switched your phone if you are using an Android or an iPhone or any kind of phone at all, and you have had to change your phone at any point in time, you know what backup means, that what you have on a particular phone, you save this somewhere, so that when you are moving to a new phone, you can retrieve what you have saved somewhere and put it on a new phone. Backup means you have a backup. And it's very good. It's very important as a security control because it's operational. Because in today's world, nobody is hacker proof. There's no organization or there's no company, there's no person that cannot be hacked. If anybody tells you it cannot be hacked, it's just a matter of time. United States, Pentagon, CIA, they are being hacked from time to time. Russia, North Korea, China, people are hacking them, But what makes a place like United States, for instance, that experiences hacks every day, like Pentagon, they are hacking them. People are attempting to hack them every day. What makes them solid is because I'm sure they will have a very strong backup that even if a malware enters their system today and wipes off everything, within the next, maybe in a few hours time, they will restore everything from backup. So because it has to do with operation, these are kind of controls that you can set in place to control loss of data. Backup is a form of control. Access logs too. Access log is talking about, you know what a log is? It means that everybody that is accessing a particular system or device is being entered into a record. Logs are usually a record. So when you have access logs, it means that everything that is going on within your organization, if you have an office, for instance, and you have different rooms in your office, so and you have logs, maybe you have a kitchen and you have some very special dishes or some very special items in the kitchen that you don't want anybody to just access. So you have access. So maybe at the door of the kitchen, anybody that is entering in to eat or do anything, you write your name. You go in and come out. When you write your name, you sign in. When you're going to sign in. So all those records, they are kept as a log. Those access logs can be used for operations to know who carried out what, to know why this person or a particular user carried out certain things. So users of system will log in every activity they are doing. Automatically, the system logs it, and then you can retrieve these logs and verify what action the users are taking. So this is a form of operational control too that controls what people do. Then we have the physical control. Physical control is talking about things that has to do with hardware, things that you can see. Like a gate is a physical control, for example. A barricade is a physical control. Cameras, CCTV camera, when you install a camera, they are physical, kind of control because these things are physical. You can relate with it. Biometrics, is fingerprint scanners. In this case, they are physical control. You have to scan your fingerprint before you enter into, to building. These are categories of control. So in this course, mostly we are going to be leaning on technical control. If I'm preparing people for GRC, governance, risk and compliance, mostly you're going to be dealing with managerial control. So, but for this training, hands-on practicals, we're dealing mainly with technical and operational, kind of controls, they be interlinked. Then we have types of control. So we have the preventive control, we have the detective, we have the corrective. This is not exhaustive. We also have what we call deterrence now, which is part of the curriculum of security. We have deterrence. So preventive is like preventing something from happening. So these are the kind of controls you put in place that will not allow someone to come near your organization. You prevent an incident from happening. Detective control are the type of control that you put in place that finds out what is going on. That means something is already happening. You want to detect. But for example, if a virus is inside your computer or your network, detective, is what you use to detect that, presence of that virus, and immediately enters, for example, an example of detective, a physical control that is detective could be camera, or let me say infrared, for instance. So infrared may not stop you, it may not prevent you from entering a building, but immediately you enter, it will detect your movement. That is detective. Then we have the corrective control. Corrective restores. These are the kind of control. An example of corrective control will be this kind of operational controls. When something happens, then you need to correct it, you need to bring it back to order. So, like I said, these are just fundamental concepts that we need to know. So, which control type do you think will detect? So, this is a question for us to answer. Which control type will detect a breach? I'm waiting for answer if you are hearing me.
Detective control.
Detective control. That is what is it? Detective control.
So what was the question again? What control type would
detect a breach?
Logs, audit logs.
Well, audit would detect. Yes, okay. So that's also correct. Audit log or access log. So if somebody enters, yes, if you check the logs, you can see that someone has entered. So that is what kind of control is that? What type? What category does that fall into?
I feel like that should be under detective though, because
it's detective type, but under the category, it's operational.
Operational, okay, yeah.
Under category, but it's a detective control type. So that is types of control. Then we have security concepts. Fundamental security concept is the CIA. So there's no way you want to learn about cybersecurity that they will not talk about CIA. In fact, it's supposed to be, that's what we talk about first before we even talk about controls. It's just because it's the way I arrange my slide. Because if you don't understand the CIA, there's no way you can understand cybersecurity. Well, CIA forms what cybersecurity is all about. And that is, what are we saying? That in cybersecurity, we are doing three things. We are ensuring confidentiality, we are maintaining the integrity, and then we are also ensuring availability. If any of these three is being breached, is not if any of these three is missing in an organization, then the organization has been hacked. So every hacker, any kind of hack that you hear anywhere, they are trying to do three things. They are either trying to break the confidentiality, or break the integrity, or break availability of data or of assets within organization. And if either one or two or three of these things are achieved, then that is when they say an organization has been hacked or somebody has been hacked. So, and what does it mean? When you're talking about confidentiality, we are saying that you are private. What is not meant for the public or what is not meant for people outside there is not getting out. Do you understand? It means your bank account details, for instance, or your bio data, the personal bio data, is for you alone, for your consumption alone. It's supposed to be private. But once it becomes available to the public, that means it's no longer confidential. So, and that is one of the key areas of the CIA triad. So, integrity is talking about let me use the word integrity. Is here in cybersecurity is talking about correctness, accuracy, ensuring that something is not missing. So, for example, if your name is Derek, let's say your name is Derek Charles. That's your name, Derek Charles. And you are sending an information to someone and you put your signature as Derek Charles. If the document you send to someone gets to the person and Charles is no longer there, only Derek is there, that means the message is no longer complete. The integrity of that message is missing. That means something has been tampered with. Somebody has changed the name to integrity. So integrity is talking about ensuring that data or an asset remains intact, remains the way it is where it was created, meaning that it is not changed, it is not compromised. That is integrity. Then availability means that anybody that's supposed to have access to something at every point in time, the person has that access. For example, if your house now, your house is your house. You after working, from morning till night, and you get home, you're supposed to be able to open your door and go in and rest and eat and do whatever you want to do. But if you get to your door and you suddenly found that the lock has been changed, or somebody has destroyed the lock and you cannot open your door, that means whatever you have in your house is no longer available. If you need to give someone, if somebody is in need of maybe money urgently and the money is inside the house and you cannot access the money to give person, it means that somebody can die, something negative can happen because you don't have access. You are not, that which is your stuff is not available for you. So availability is talking about something that belongs to you, having access to what you have the right to have access to at any time. Remember, availability is talking about the things that you have the right to access. For example, now, if you don't have access, if you have a brother now, for example, you're staying with your brother, you're staying with someone, and the person says, my room is not available for you to use. Use the guest room. If you are trying to open the person's room and you cannot open it, you are not considering that as not being available because you don't have the permission to open that room. So you can't consider that one as availability being broken. It is only when you have the permission to enter that room and you cannot enter the room when you want to enter it, then you don't have availability. So the CIA has been broken. So to ensure confidentiality, you use things like encryption or access controls. So confidentiality, remember, it's talking about privacy. So if I'm talking to, if we are discussing in this meeting now, and we don't want people outside to understand what we're talking, and we decide to be speaking in a code or in slang, it's only us. That means we have encrypted our conversation. So that means it's private. We can talk freely using those codes without anybody understanding what we are talking about. That is encryption. Then access control means that you lock a place, you condition, you restrict people from having access to that, your data or your assets or your network or your system, or whatever you want to be private to you. So access control is used to control, or is used to ensure there's confidentiality. Then integrity, what do you use to ensure integrity? Hashing. So hashing is an advanced form of encryption. It's something similar to encryption, but in the case of hashing, the only difference between hashing and encryption is that when you hash a data, you cannot unhash it. You can't reverse it back. If you hash a data and you can reverse it back, then it's no longer data. That's just a mere encryption. So hashing is a stronger way. And the essence of hashing is that when you hash something, no matter where you take that hashed data to, it remains the same. Do you understand? Are we following me? I want to get a feedback. Are we following?
Yes, yes.
When you hash, because this thing I'm saying is part of the thing that you come across in certifications. They are fundamental things that you meet in any certification exam you're doing. Hashing, encryption, access controls. So hashing is talking about, changing the, when you hash a data, you convert it from what it is into a different, format, and then you can't reverse it. And the reason why people do that is because when you convert, after converting it, it remains in that thing you converted it to. It doesn't change. It remains like that. So it means that if somebody sees that hash, the person cannot unhash it and then tamper with what is inside. Okay, let me explain it this way. So if I write in a piece of paper, I'm a cybersecurity professional. If I write that in a piece of paper, I'm a cybersecurity professional, and I encrypt it. Encryption means that if I encrypt it, if I give it to you, I'll give you the key. You decrypt it and you understand it. You decrypt it and you read that word. I am a cybersecurity professional. With encryption, you can decide to change it from, after reading, you can decide to change it, alter what is there, and change it from I'm a cybersecurity professional to I'm a cybersecurity expert, and encrypt it again. But with hashing, if I write I'm a cybersecurity professional and I hash it and I give you the hash, you can't change it. I will just tell you this is the hash of what I have written down. Whatever you want to do with it, you do it, you use it like that. It remains the same. You can't unhash it and then see what is inside and change the content. That is why hashing is used, and it's commonly used as password. So if you type in your password into a device, what it's supposed to do is it changes the password to a hash. And when the password is hashed, you cannot unhash it and change the password and now use it again. The system will take the password, the hash of the password, and then be making reference to that hash. So every time you log into your system, once you type in the password, your system will convert your passwords to the hash. If the hash is not the same hash that you already provided in your system earlier on, it will say error, error, error. I don't know if you get it. Maintain the integrity. Do you understand what I explain? For example, where hashing is used mostly is in password. So if your password is Jesus, for instance, let's say your password is Jesus of Nazareth, and you hash, and the hash of Jesus of Nazareth might turn out to be JJJJY. Let's assume that's a hash. If you type Jesus of Nazareth and you put full stop, it will no longer be, and you hash it, it will no longer be JJJY. It will turn to JJJ, maybe P or PZ. So anybody that is trying to guess your password and type something different from Jesus of Nazareth, it will change. It will change the hash and the system will not allow you to go. So hashing maintains the integrity. So also digital signature. Digital signatures are also they are like signing a document. Just the way signing document works. So when you sign a document, nobody's supposed to be able to change your signature. Your signature is supposed to be, unique, so that everywhere they see, they will know this signature is from so person. If somebody tries to sign the signature and it's different, they will know that no, this is not. So digital signature too, they are like ash, they are used for integrity, to maintain integrity. And then availability. I've talked about availability. One of the things that makes something available is backups. Redundancy is another concept. Redundancy is talking about when you have alternatives. If like you have 4 cars now, it's only 1 car you can use at every time, but you keep 3 other cars redundant. You keep them, but though they are redundant, you are making sure that you are servicing them, you are warming them every morning, even though you are not using it. The essence is that day that you have more crowds to carry, automatically you split your passengers to the other cars, or that particular car you are using, you like using, just breaks down. The other redundant cars, you just switch to them, they become okay. So redundancy is a concept that is used to ensure availability, so that, for example, in websites now, if you have a website and your website is hosted on a particular web host, they use redundancy in such a way that if hackers send what we call a DDoS, maybe they bombard your particular website with traffic, there is no one single way to get to your website. Immediately, one of the IP address or the domain name is too flooded with network, with traffic, it will send the remaining excess traffic to other redundant, uh, redundant servers that set up. It ensures we call load balance, which is our concept about set or one particular because it's not overloaded with work. It spreads it to other in case, as the case may be, so that, because if you overload one particular channel too much and that channel breaks down, it means nothing will work. So you have redundancy as a way of making sure that there's always availability. So that's the concept. That's the concept of the CIA trial. So let me finalize on that CIA trial. Why I said it's very important for you to understand this. So this will tell you the hands-on skills. This is where we get hands-on, the need for hands-on skills comes in. So your hands-on skill, your practical skills that you are talking about earlier on, is in your ability to ensure to maintain confidentiality, to help an organization or help yourself to maintain confidentiality. So, for example, now if you want to say hands-on skills in this area, can you encrypt? Do you know how to carry out encryption? How to configure access controls? Do you know how to encrypt data? Hashing, do you know how to use hashing algorithm, to ensure that system is, the data is safe? Do you know how to create digital signatures? Do you know how to install or implement digital signatures on the website? So these are practical things you need to know. Availability, do you know how to configure redundancy? Do you know how to back up? Do you know how to write policies that will ensure that these things are being done? So these are the things that leads to your or builds up to your hands-on skills. These are the areas in which you're going to be developing hands-on skills. So as a cybersecurity professional, you know 3 things you are doing. You are protecting the confidentiality of of data or assets of your organization or of yourself. You're protecting the integrity. You're protecting the availability. You are ensuring that there's access to data every time. You're ensuring that data is not compromised, and you're ensuring that there's privacy of data. Then we have this framework, the AA framework, which is a fundamental security concept too. The AA framework is basically talking about authentication, authorization, and accounting. So authentication means like you are enforcing that the right person have access to the right data. So authentication is basically saying that I want to see what is in your laptop. I want to see what is in your phone. Prove that I am the owner of the phone or I'm the owner of the data in the phone. Because if that is where it's going to ask me for passwords, it's going to ask me for biometrics, my fingerprints, it's check my face, and it's authenticating, it's checking the originality, it's ensuring that the right person is the person that is trying to access data. Then we have authorization. Authorization is a little bit higher level to authentication in the sense, not I don't want to use the word higher or lower, but authorization comes after authenticating. So if you have authenticated that okay, this is the right person, okay, authentication now you are a staff of a particular company, you want to go into the company. Authentication means is your ID card. Your ID card, you come into the company with your ID card. The ID card will allow you to get into the company. But authorization will now be like, are you authorized to come in? Yes, you are a ID card, you have the ID card, you are a staff of the company. But have you been authorized, even though you are a staff of the company, have you been authorized to access the company? For example, maybe the MD or the CEO of the company pass a law or they write a policy in the organization that no staff is allowed to come into the building on weekends. Now, yes, the system will authenticate that you are a staff, it will be seen there, but do you have the authorization to come in? This is a Saturday. You are not a cleaner. You are not a security guard. What are you coming to the organization or to the building to do? Authorization. So if you want to come in, you now have to seek authorization from maybe the MD or the CEO or whoever is in charge. The person will now say, okay, yes, this person is authorized to access the data or access the facility. That is what authorization is all about. Then we have the accounting. So when you are authorized to come in, you remember this third level now. After being authorized, okay, you are allowed to access the organization or the company on the weekend. Accounting is like they will now have to read on so time through authentication authorized logging in. You are accounting for your authorization. You are accounting for the access you want to access the building at that point in time. So also at that time they will log in. You are coming in with your laptop. You are coming in with this, so that when you are going out, you also put it in the login that you are going out with a printer. You are going out with a desktop. So that's the framework that is always so. As a cybersecurity professional, these are the things that you are trying to do. You are trying to make sure that authentication is in place. You are making sure that anybody that even though the person has been authenticated, the person that is authorizing this has the right person. The person that is giving accounting for this person coming, the logs are there. So I want to ask a question, based on this. I mentioned earlier on, is any of us, Derek or Charles, is any of you familiar into cryptocurrency?
No, not me.
Okay,
Yes, I'm into.
okay, you are familiar with crypto. Did you hear about what I was talking about earlier on about Bybit?
Yes, yes, I heard about it.
You heard about it. Good. Now, on this AA framework, did you read about how it happened? Did you try to read on what happened?
No, I didn't read about it, but I just said that they got hacked. They stole some Bitcoin from, but I didn't try to investigate about it.
Okay, so as a cybersecurity professional, and I'm giving both of you their assignments to go and check it out. Both of you, because as cybersecurity, one of the things you do, you have to be listening, you have to be reading, following all these trends, what is going on, because there's no way you can keep people safe if you don't know what is going on. You need to be familiar with news, information, especially when it comes to digital things that are going on online. because that is your work. Those are the things that you can use to bamboozle somebody at the point of interview. When you go to the interview, you can use it as a case study self and use it to people. When you talk using that, they will know that yes, this person knows what you're saying. Okay, so just to give us an understanding, so like I mentioned earlier, the Bybit is a crypto exchange that was hacked, last week, and they stole a lot of money, from them, about 1.5 or so billion dollars. So what happened there was that what like I mentioned earlier, they did not code, they didn't use coding or these things. The what was breached was authentication and authorization. So I will explain to you how accounting came into play in that particular hack. Okay, so what happened in that hack is like when in that particular company, that Bybit company, the people who are behind it, they are the one that are authorized to, of course, in an organization like that, it's just like in a bank. If a bank is borrowing money or moving money from one account to the other, some people will have to sign before that money moves. You understand? So the in that company, there are about 4 or 5 people that are authorized, to approve transactions. So when transaction is going on, these are 4 people, 4 persons. So you can imagine one person cannot even authorize that transaction, about 4 persons. Yet all the 4 of them are approved. So what happened was that the guys, the hackers, they deceived, they breached, they studied the way these transactions carry out. They studied the proof and send transactions. And they created like social engineer, they created fake interface. So like when you log into your bank, you log in, it comes off using MoneyPoint app, and you see the application you use with your so and so forth. That thing you are seeing, you cannot imagine that it is not, you are not seeing the one that is genuine from mobile point, from MoneyPoint. They've replaced the app on your phone with something else. Let's assume I'm the one that now replaced the app. So you launch the app launch, you are seeing the interface, everything looks the same, but you don't know that it doesn't belong to MoneyPoint, it belongs to someone else. So what you are doing, and then you are logging in, you are approving transactions. So in the particular case, what the people did was even more. It was actually MoneyPoint app. I'm just using MoneyPoint as an example. You can imagine that you actually launch MoneyPoint app, and then where you are supposed to type the account number where you want to transfer money to. Let's say you want to send money to, let's say Derek now, you want to send money to Charles. And then that page where you type in, where you see the account, where you pick up the account number, it comes up instead of you seeing, instead of account number of Charles to show, my account number shows. But the account number, my account number that shows, it can now be, I can now change it to Charles' account number. So you will see the account number, but maybe it's an image or something. So you would think that, okay, yes, this is the correct account number. Maybe I don't know that that particular account number is not for Charles, it's my own account number. So it is still you that you are authorizing, you are authorized to send the money. You are sending money, but you are sending it to a different account number. So what they breached there was a breach of, they used the authorization, the right people that were supposed to authorize, they authorized a wrong transaction. They authorized the transaction to go to the wrong place. So there was no place to verify the authentication or to verify the authenticity of the account number they are sending to, because they assumed that the account number they are seeing is correct. So they didn't check the authenticity of that interface where they are using to do transaction. So they authorized, they leverage on the authority, the hackers leverage on getting the authorization of the right people to send the information or to send the funds to the account that they want to. So the account moved to the money moved to the wrong account. That was what happened. So they breached the authentication and authorization. But on the flip side of it, how were they now able to track what happened? Logging. So because all the things that was happening on the account is being logged, when they now checked, when Bybit now decided to carry out the investigation and not check what was going on, they saw that the real account that was receiving the transaction is not the one they want to send it to, is a different account. That is where the login helped them. So eventually they found out that they were sending money to the wrong account. And now they have pegged, they have tagged those accounts, those movements. If you are familiar with blockchain, you understand this. So those ledger, those transactions, those hashes that happen, those transactions they've been checked. So if money is moving from those blocks to another, they will flag it because the logging and the auditing were done. So I'm just trying to explain how this thing works. So if as a cybersecurity professional, that is one of the things, these are the things that you are doing, ensuring that authentication, authorization, and accounting is in place, making sure that this is in place. Then the last, under the fundamental concepts, what I'm going to talk about now is zero trust. So there's a concept also called zero trust, which says never trust, always verify, which is what happened to the scenario I just explained. Those guys, they trusted that this app or this interface, because they've been using it every time now. It's not the first time they're using it. They've been doing a lot of transactions. So they're already confident that this interface or this account or this thing they are seeing is the right thing. So they did not need to, they didn't think of verifying it again. And that was the doom. So they never verify, they always verify, never trust, always verify. So even though your app that you are using every time, your banking app on your phone, that have been using every time, always make sure that you verify that it's the right app. Because perhaps someone has downloaded this on your phone and then different app. A good way of finding the right time. So when you do auto frequent and avoid, because wrong app, it will not unfriend. And then that concept of not trusting anything. So when you say zero trust, it means that even though you have been doing something consistently every time, or you have used the device, or somebody has authenticated that yes, this is Olalekan talking to you, telling you to send money to so account. You will not trust, even though you have sent the account money to that account 50 times, you still call me to confirm. Olalekan, are you the owner of this account? Is this the right account? Zero trust is a concept that is very fundamental in cybersecurity. Immediately to lose, you don't apply zero trust, you are vulnerable to hack. And if you can see my screen, this is what is going on there. So anytime a user or an application or a device is requesting for access, you always verify every attempt. And we have three types of verifications. We have performance based, Google based, and we have authority, administrative based, access control. So these three types of access control, we're still going to be talking about it. You check that the person is the right person that needs access, and you're checking that the right person have the authority. And then you also verify that the person, is doing it at the right time, is doing it the right way, which is part of accountability, accounting for it. Then after verifying the access attempt, you now determine that the person is eligible. That's when you use things like multi-factor authentication. Eligibility, you confirm that the person is eligible. So at every stage, and the thing is that even the person is doing it the 1,000 times, you are supposed to still verify, check all these verification. Because that is what zero trust is all about. You must not believe that the person has the right. So another concept of principle is change management. So for every change you are going to make as a cybersecurity professional, if you want to change the configuration, you want to write a new policy, you want to do something, you need to go through the approval process. You must go through the right approval process, before change has been implemented. That means usually part of the approval process is like you must request you want to change something. You can't just sit up because you are the IT admin guy, and you just wake up and just, change the configuration from what is working. But you must first of all send a request to somebody that will now check. Okay, we'll check the request and they will confirm that it is you and confirm that the request is necessary, and then go ahead. Another part of the change management or concept is impact. So for every configuration you are changing, for everything you are touching your system, what is the impact? You need to check the impact. And when you check the impact,